I don't know if you've noticed, but tourist traffic to Cancun has gone way down in recent months, and it got me wondering why. Hey everyone, it's Vanessa, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at why Cancun has gone from a year after year repeat destination to the bottom of the list for many. And we'll do that by reviewing all the main factors to consider before visiting the area, see what's improved, what's gone downhill, and then give a final verdict on Cancun. Hit or miss, so stay tuned. The first thing to consider is getting there, so let's take a look at flights and airport. Cancun International is one of the most notorious airports to get through, no question, especially in the peak season in the winter and spring months. It can be complete chaos outside, with drivers everywhere around the airport, people hawking tours and timeshares, and then inside, clearing customs can take forever. They do offer a VIP service to breeze through customs and immigration, but it runs several $100 for two people. So understandably, not too many travelers willing to pony up that much cash to skip the lines. So it's just one of those situations where you just have to hold your breath and get through it. But it can definitely be stressful and not exactly the ideal way to start a vacation, right? But with that being said, while lines may be longer than we'd like, as we've talked about in this year's resort reports, there's no question that passenger traffic at Cancun International Airport has declined, averaging 2.17 million over the past few months, which is peak season, by the way, which is a significant decline from this time last year. Plus, as we talked about in the membership, shameless plug, but we give a lot of good info there, the opening of the Tulum airport is diverting a lot of traffic as well. So lines at this airport are always expected to be a headache, but there does seem to be a slight improvement in recent months. But of course, the other half of the coin is flights. Flights to Mexico have gone up like everything else, not as much as they have in many other locations. Flights to Europe and even parts of the Caribbean are insane right now, but an increase nonetheless, which could be a definite negative for travel to Cancun. So verdict in this category, while there has been some improvement and flights here are still cheaper than most places, that airport is still a big hassle to get through, so we're gonna have to give it a miss. Now let's look at resorts, and right off the bat, I'll say this is the easiest category for me. I get a lot of flack for always praising resorts throughout Cancun area, but that's because they're some of the best in the world. They just are. And you especially notice it when you travel elsewhere, trying to expand your horizons, but just keep coming back to the same places. And whether you want to be right in the mix in a mega resort in the hotel zone, or a more secluded boutique property down the coast, all-inclusive property, or an a la carte hotel, romantic escape, or a party place, they have it all. I've obviously talked about many of them extensively, so you can refer to those reviews and countdowns, but Cancun has the best resort variety. And something that gets overlooked is the quality of service. Most properties in the area offer impeccable service, which can truly make or break a vacation. And as far as change, I'd say it's always improving, with new resorts and hotels constantly opening, even in this economic downturn, and renovations are always happening, more than any other resort destination that I've seen. Prices have gone up over the past 18 months, not any more than most vacation destinations, but of course something to consider when planning a vacation anywhere these days. But a lot of their properties can also be paid in points, which I've talked about before, and lately they've been running more specials and incentives than usual to lure visitors back. So verdict, this is a very easy hit. So what about their beaches? And this is a much trickier category. First of all, there's no question that Cancun has beautiful beaches. The water is clear, warm, and unlike Cabo, very safe for swimming. But, and it's a big one, the sargassum or seaweed here, when it's tide season, can be very bad. You just have a lot of this smelly brown seaweed everywhere that can wash up in record numbers, but it varies every year. So unfortunately, it's very hard to predict when and where it will happen. So it's a definite gamble when you book your vacation. The other issue on the beaches here are vendors selling absolutely everything under the sun. They have gotten fewer in recent years, but they're still a factor for sure. And And the last thing to consider about beaches here is the level of activity. Most of their beaches have a lot of activity and sports happening. Jet skis flying by, music playing, and during peak season, it can be hard to find an empty beach lounger depending on where you stay. So my verdict here is a hit and a miss. Strictly speaking, the beautiful sand and ocean make them a hit, while other lesser factors that most visitors don't consider, unfortunately, also make them a miss. Now to one of the most popular categories in Cancun, the nightlife. One of the best places anywhere for nightlife, of course, but a couple important things to know first. Cancun is basically divided into two main sections. The hotel zone, where your all-inclusives and resorts that we talk about are located, and while there's no shortage of bars here, downtown Cancun, or El Centro, is where most of your nightlife is going to be located. Most tourists don't usually venture downtown because, one, the area has gotten a very bad rap going back to MTV Spring Break days, but this isn't 2004 anymore, let's just be honest, things have changed quite a bit, and two, many tourists are worried about danger when leaving your resort. As always, exercise caution, especially when drinking, but when taking all precautions, it's no more dangerous than anywhere else. A few tips. Cancun offers a lot of nightlife packages or club tours, and these are good for maximizing your time so you can visit a few venues in one night. Also, most nightclubs have dress codes, so pack accordingly. And back to safety, police traffic stops and searches, especially in the hotel zone, have become much more frequent in recent years. But if you've behaved, you've got nothing to worry about, right? And last but not least, cover charges have gone way up in 2024, averaging $30 to $50, sometimes more. So be prepared so you don't have sticker shock at the door. So would I say nightlife here has changed? Maybe a slight improvement, but generally the same, offering something for everyone. Coco Bongo is a club that even non-club people would enjoy. If you don't enjoy current music, some clubs play oldies from the 70s and 80s. The nightlife variety is so great that there's literally something for everyone, making it a definite hit. Now to activities, and Cancun is one of the absolute best vacation destinations for activity and excursion options. If you want to venture off property and maximize your time, it's almost overwhelming how much there is to pack into a week's stay. Most of Cancun's immediate activity options are water-based things: parasailing, jet ski rentals, offshore snorkeling, sunset catamaran cruises. The Cancun Pirate Show dinner is kind of hokey, but still lots of fun. And then, of course, there's the more cultural day trips you can take. Chichen Itza is 100% worth a visit. Although I've warned in several videos and will say it again, the sun is intense there, so wear a hat and sunscreen. I've heard criticisms that Cancun activities are geared for the masses and culturally inauthentic, and while that may be true, that doesn't mean they aren't fun and enjoyable, with plenty to keep you busy, especially compared to most vacation destinations. So in my opinion, this category is still a hit. Now to a category where my opinion will probably surprise you, and that's the weather. It's funny, a lot of insiders say Cancun has two seasons, hot and humid, and hurricane. And while that may be a slight exaggeration, the very beginning of the year is usually pleasant, but it is mostly true. To avoid these types of weather scenarios, I'd say book December through March, but of course that's when flights and room rates are the priciest by far, so kind of a catch-22 there. There are definitely tropical locations where the weather is far more ideal and you can avoid hurricanes. We've talked a lot about the ABC Islands, some of the year-round best weather anywhere there. Barbados, Grenada, all incredible Caribbean vacation destinations. So while Cancun definitely has a lot going for it, I think the way people describe the weather is incredibly overrated. So this category is going to be a miss. Now to a category that's very much on people's minds these days, safety. I try to regularly give updates on safety in Mexico in the resort reports because it's been an ever-changing situation over the past 18 months. A lot of scary clickbaity headlines, especially last year with 4 bodies found on the beach near a Cancun hotel. And it did seem to have an effect on visitor numbers, especially during spring and summer 2023. Now, I'm not here to tell you there isn't danger when visiting Cancun. Of course there is. But I do think when these incidents happen, they tend to be in such focus that fear just takes over. We saw this a few months ago when the safety alerts were raised for Jamaica and the Bahamas. I was shocked how much coverage that got. Cruisers didn't even want to go in port in Jamaica. It was just crazy. So don't get overwhelmed by headlines, but of course, always take precautions. Travel in large groups and tours. Don't leave drinks or belongings unattended. If you don't feel comfortable, don't leave your property after dark. Take these precautions and you'll be fine. And since last year, Cancun has really upped police presence everywhere. They truly have. But that might be unnerving for some while on vacation. So what's my verdict? While yes, we all take precautions and visit and are perfectly safe, there is, however, still a stigma of the area being unsafe, and that's nothing new. And it's not in Aruba where you can freely walk around and not look over your shoulder. So for this category, Cancun is unfortunately gonna be a miss. So now to the big question. Is Cancun overrated? If you've been keeping tally, we have 4 hits and 4 misses. I know that's frustrating, and I honestly didn't plan it that way, but it really depends on you. I've seen people completely trash Cancun. They just hate it, and other people love it and visit every year. My personal deciding factors, if I'm speaking as a visitor and not a reviewer, of the categories we went through, my 2 focuses are always good resorts and beaches, and Cancun has some of the best, so it's not overrated for me personally. If, however, the airport for your vacation destination is a big factor, volatile weather may be a deal breaker, and feeling safe wherever you go are your main factors in picking a vacation destination, then Cancun may not be an ideal location for you. And that's my honest opinion. So as always, I try to be as honest as possible and not sugarcoat anything, but I think there are many wonderful things about Cancun as a vacation destination, and there's a reason it continues to grow and expand with more and more wonderful resorts every year. Please let me know your thoughts on Cancun, and as always, I hope to see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.